That's our connection. Podcast Network fans, welcome back to Extreme Three-Way Dance, the most extreme menage a trois violence you'll ever experience. It is a journey through the history of Extreme Championship Wrestling, and joining me, as always, on this journey, Jenny's journey, says Jenny and Mr. Souza. How are you?
Hello, extremely happy to be here.
Hmm.
I am too. Yes, extremely excited and glad that there's no septic smell in my house.
So I am
Right,
basically, I'm
right.
so extreme. I'm recording from I think this is the ooze from
From the
Ninja
ooze,
Turtles
yeah.
2. So Kevin Nash may be showing up at any time in my
That
Nope.
basement.
is dedication. And it is our 90th episode, right?
Ooh,
Something like that.
crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not bad. I think it's
Hmm.
maybe my second longest running. Well, no holds barred is. I think it's his third, or right around with Warzone, which returns April 17th.
Mm.
For
Hmm.
those that might have seen that out on social media. And listen, if you're watching us here on North South Connections YouTube channel, you can just take a second and hit subscribe. You're right there anyway. Just do that. And then if you're listening on any of your podcatcher apps or podcast applications or sites, and you're listening and you want to check us out on video, again, just go to YouTube, search North South Connection. Or if not, if you like the audio format, that's cool too. Thanks for subscribing and checking us out there. All right, so we have been journeying through the history of ECW starting in 1994. We are now pretty much what 4 years later to where we started. We started
Hmm.
February of 94 and February of 98. We're going to cover 3 weeks of television in this episode. And then 2 weeks from today, we're going to be hitting our next pay-per-view, Living Dangerously 1998. So we're going to cover the build leading up to that right now. Starting with February 14th, we open with Taz backstage. He thanks Bam Bam Bigelow for opening his eyes as he was getting soft, becoming a team player, company guy. But now Bigelow kicked his ass and smartened him up, but he had to do it with his back turned. A big badass beast used to walk into the Stone Pony and people would piss themselves, but maybe he's not who he used to be. Bigelow had the chance to bust him open face to face, but waited until his back was turned. The only mock is anyone in Asbury Park that still believes in Bigelow being a celebrity and a superstar. Taz is an athlete that busts his ass in the gym every morning at 5 a.m. Bigelow hangs out with the big wigs, but he's just a miserable workhorse breathing down Bigelow's neck. And Bam Bam better prepare himself for March 1st, as he's never faced anyone like Taz. Shane Douglas was right when he said Taz is a mark for the TV title. Shane and Bigelow traded the world title, but along the line, they realized the TV title is what matters, and the triple threat has all the gold except for his, and the TV title makes it happen. Taz elevated it, not Shane, that yellow bitch, who tapped on it 3 minutes before, but Shane sends Bigelow, not himself or Candido, who Taz has already beaten too many times to count, and Shane's yellow and already tapped out anyway. Taz is ready to take out the big old Bigelow. Beat him if you can, survive if he lets you. This is a great promo. Coming off Bigelow turning on Taz to set up their match at the pay-per-view. I thought Taz brought his usual anger and fire here, really laid down the expectation that he's going to destroy Bigelow in his hometown on March 1st. Jenny, what do you think of the promo here?
Also thought it was very good. He has this little edge of like wounded pride, he didn't see it coming, so that just stokes him a little bit more, makes him a little bit more angry than he already is. And he did realize that he became unfocused on only himself and was a team player for some reason, and that backfired. So it was really good. I enjoyed this one, Maddie.
Yeah, this is great stuff from Taz. He's really been showing that fire lately, and he's been showing more personality than we've seen from him in the
Mm-hmm.
past, and that just continues here. Him calling Shane a yellow bitch was fantastic.
It
That was a
was pretty
that was a
good.
great line. But yeah, I just think Taz is on he's on fire right now. He's on the next level, and he keeps being great. So he calls everybody who believes in Bam Bam a mark. I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was a great line too. So yeah,
We
just
are.
well, it's true, right? But really good stuff from Taz.
With the Stone Pony drop there as well. So
Love
Yeah,
there you
that.
go.
yeah.
All right, we get opening animation. Joey Styles then in the nest. He says Bigelow and Taz is official. March 1st, Asbury Park, Living Dangerously pay-per-view. Joey recaps what led us to this match with the triple threat reuniting. We get the highlights of how it all went down, including the end of Lance Storm's run with the group. Joey says Candido and Storm will also face off in a dream partner tag at Living Dangerously, but isn't sure yet how the tag title situation will shake out. That brings us to our first match of the night, and that is Rob Van Dam and Sabu taking on Rotten Balls, Axel Rotten and Balls Mahoney. RVD, Sabu, and Fonzie get in the ring doing their thing. Balls and Axel are out with the chairs. Sabu's jaw still taped up, this poor guy.
I know.
Uh,
Mhm.
After a break, we get our intros, we get rolling, we revisit the clips of RVD breaking the split-legged lift record that we saw at previous episode. Back to the ring we go. Balls and Sabu start off trading some control holds. Sabu takes the knee, kicks and slugs. Balls gets a backbreaker, tags an Axel, cranks at a chin lock, unloads some headbutts. Balls comes in with a leg drop for 2. Punches away, but Sabu takes him down and tags RVD, who peppers Balls with strikes and then hits a side kick off the top. Sabu comes in, hits an air Sabu off RVD. RVD matches Balls with a spin kick and leg drop into a Boston Crab. Sabu hits a top rope leg drop, but comes up grabbing his back. RVD batters Balls, and we get a Rolling Thunder slingshot leg drop combo. RVD and Balls battle outside as Sabu smashes Axel with a chair, springboards onto Balls, driving him through the table in a great spot. They got a big pop. Back inside, Balls catches Sabu with a boot, tags Axel, cleans house. Balls recovers. They double team RVD, but RVD hits Axel with a Van Daminator. They nail Balls with total elimination. Cronus comes out. We get the bell for the DQ as he clears out RVD and Sabu. And that is that. This is pretty fun. Axel Balls really come together. And really kind of built up not just a chemistry, but a little bit of a moveset in a way as well. And it actually felt balanced. Like, it didn't feel like RVD and Sabu were coming down a level. They are always smooth and on point. It was a good, fun, tag battle on TV. Interesting finish. We'll see where Cronus fits into this with the troll of the total elimination by RVD and Sabu. So 3 stars, Matt. That's a pretty good tag.
Yeah, I went 2.5 on it. It was perfectly solid tag match. Axel, weirdly enough, rarely enough, I should say, not wearing a Marilyn Manson t-shirt, which is very different for him. He was rocking an ICP shirt, which is very different than what he usually wears. It's good to see Cronus getting in the mix, doing something, because I feel like he's just kind of been floating around aimless really since, I mean, he had the New Jack stuff, but it's different than when he was with Saturn, I feel like. So yeah. It's good that he's doing something else, and, they're hearkening back to the total elimination days. So obviously that wound is still fresh, that Saturn is gone. So I thought that was a nice touch. But yeah, I mean, this was a fairly standard match. I thought there was one spot where Balls goes through a table with a leg drop, and the table just flat out did not give, and it just goes out from the table just kind of gave up on life and didn't break. So I thought that was pretty well done. But yeah, I mean, it was basically a showcase for RVD and Sabu. So I thought it was a good one of those. So 2.5 for me, Jenny.
I really like this one too. I think RVD and Sabu are so deep into their characters, and they are killing it in ring most times. They hit the troll total elimination like out of nowhere, like just to be dicks. Like, that's what their level is right now, and they can do that. They can get away with it. They do anything they want across this division and every other division. They're amazing. I really like this match. Balls and Axel, I love them. I love them as a team. They look super legit in this, like you said. Poor Sabu and his broke ass face still. But RVD and Sabu are really climbing the ranks of my favorite tag teams of all time. Like, it's just another great bonus for doing this podcast.
They're great in the ring and just the promos and stuff with RVD doing the slipping in the backhanded comments, and Sabu just kind of mean mugging, but not really doing anything about it.
But they're always together. They're not. They if one of them is fighting, they're both fighting. Like, legit together. It's pretty amazing. I did 2 3/4 stars.
All right, we go right back to the ring for our next match, and that is our old friend Doug Furnace still hanging around here, taking on Al Snow. Furnace and Lance Wright are in the ring with the WWF banner as we switch to Head TV for the entrance of Snow and Head. We see Head with an ECW hat on in the nest. Joey does a Jim Ross accent to hype the match for some reason. The crowd is insanely hot. The foam heads are rocking during a very long entrance. Joey shits on Jim Cornette, whining about tradition, says maybe he can use a little head, which is funny. Snow stops Furnace from stomping on the head. He tosses it to the crowd as we get going. Snow attacks, and the crowd chants Head. With every strike during the flurry, get a hot start. Snow stomps away. It's a clothesline, hangs Furnace across the top. Furnace comes back, dumps Snow to the apron. Snow snaps his neck on the top rope. Snow pulls Furnace to the edge of the ring and hits a top rope leg drop, but Furnace comes back with a belly-to-belly and a Frankensteiner for 2. Furnace hits a power slam as Joey talks about how if Furnace can break the WF mindset, he could maybe break out like Al Snow has. Furnace slams Snow, but Snow slips out of a tombstone into a roll-up for 2, counters a Frankensteiner with a Tiger Bomb. Snow gets a Frankensteiner for 2, dances, follows with a discus punch, and Furnace hits a spine buster and stomps away. Plant Snow with a tombstone. Joey says, time to see our head expert. We get a clip of Jenna Jameson. Then we go back to the ring. Snow has head and smacks Furnace in the nuts. Cracks right as well. Snow hits Furnace with head to the face and wins the match. Again, that's a pretty good TV match. Snow's on fire. The crowd is so into it. Furnace is on full Lance Wright job duty here at this point, really scuffling with all the WWF stuff that's just failing quickly. Snow is ungodly over and is bringing it in the ring. We'll see where it goes, but it's crazy how fast he's erupted out of nowhere from over the winter. Solid match, good for TV. Jenny, I went 3 stars. A lot of offense from both guys.
3 stars for me too. I think the intro for Al was as long as this match, but that's fine. I mean, the intro is amazing. The whole vibe in the arena, everybody loves him. All the head, all around, it's great. Al and his thrashing based offense. I really like how his in-ring stuff pretty well matches his character, because he's wild, but he'll like zero in and focus on you as well. So he really does bring that whole crazy person vibe to the ring. And I really like the finish to this one too. And he had a sweet tiger bomb in there on Furnace too, which I still like Furnace even though he's on jobber duty. So I'm gonna keep my 3 stars, Matt.
Yeah, I went 3 stars on it too. Just the whole package of everything was fantastic. They used that weird like camera filter where it was kind of like it was
The
almost
head
like
TV.
there was a delay on everything. I thought that was really well. Just everything about this was great. Jesus, they've gotten a lot of use out of that fucking B-roll for Jenna Jameson. She showed up once.
I know.
They're still using it. It's insane how much they've gotten out of it. Good Lord. The presentation of Al Snow, it's just fantastic. The crowd loses their minds for just about anything he does, and it's wild to see. I feel like I say that every episode because every episode it's true. The presentation is just fantastic. The match was, it was fine enough, but I think that's all it really needed to be, just because of everything else going on during this batshit insane segment. So yeah, I went 3 stars on it too. Just really fun stuff here.
I feel like she's been on more than New Jack, Jenna Jameson.
Right.
A little bit.
Yeah, really.
I like how it was basically like a squash match and we gave it 3 stars.
Right.
It was good, yeah. The vibe with Snow adds to it too. Like
That's
the crowd is so into him. It's
the
like
vibe,
it's wild.
the presentation, it's all that.
It's a rave. I mean, they created a rave atmosphere with the heads and the lighting and all that. All right, Beulah leads out the OGs for a battle with the Dudleys. A big time match here. Joey hypes up SummerSlam and the live audio stream during the long entrance as Sandman grabs the mic, says at ECW they have a lot of wrestlers they hate, but they're all family, and all of the wrestlers consider the fans to be part of a family too. When someone in the family's hurting, everyone is. And right now, someone in their family lost somebody close, and everyone's hurting about it. And Sandman says the man who lost someone is Tommy Dreamer, whose grandfather passed away. This is his way to show how much the family cares about Tommy. Sandman talks about Tommy's grandfather paying to train for him. And it says that the beer and moment of silence they're going to have and a 10 count is all for Grandpa Joe. Sounds like a better Grandpa Joe than poor Charlie had. But
I knew you were going to make a Charlie joke.
Lazy piece of shit. Just Incredible comes out during the 10 count. Of course he does. Interrupts the bell ringing. It says he's here to give condolences like the rest of the boys and fans. And it says he wishes Tommy died instead of his worthless grandfather. Tommy attacks. We get a big pull apart. Beulah's yelling, kicking it. Credible. Just great prick stuff. Incredible. Looks like we're on to a new feud now with Tommy and JC here. Sandman holds Dreamer down as even the Dudleys help keep things apart. They don't even try and get in. They just got to try and keep everyone pulled apart. So this is a pretty good ending. It gives, our next step in the Credible push and evolution, being a douchebag heel. This is as low as it gets, especially for someone like Tommy, who's super respected in the ECW world here. So I thought it was a good next step, Jenny, for Credible.
It definitely is for him. I mean, you can't move up in ECW unless you have some sort of feud with Tommy Dreamer. Right. So he's right on track for this. I would say it feels like the middle part of a huge push on him.
Well, it almost feels a little bit like, and it's a guy we're going to talk about in a minute in a different light, but Louis Piccoli had the same kind of feud with Tommy, right? Like the young guy, the punk, the disrespect. It almost feels like, because Piccoli left abruptly to go to WCW, it almost feels like they're slotting Credible into where that spot Piccoli was going to be in with the young upstart. Kind of was like a nobody in WWF, kind of got wasted a bit. but was still super young and could work and have that natural asshole attitude.
Mhm.
And it feels like Credible's kind of stepping right in where Spicoli kind
Mhm.
of left off.
Yep.
So,
And, you know, I guess I don't know if I feel some sort of way about Tommy using his real life grandpa in a wrestling angle. I mean, that seems very personal, but he is ECW, like he's the heart of it. So I don't
well,
know.
it feels like his grandfather's probably known. I mean, it seems like maybe he was like really involved with like a diehard ECW fan. So maybe it was
Mhm.
a thing where like, he would have
Wouldn't
liked,
care.
he would have popped to be kind of like
Yeah.
included in an angle,
Okay, I would prefer to think of it that way. So
That's the vibe
that's
I get. Because
okay.
he said he paid for his training. He was like a big part of the
Right.
family. Like, so I get that. Like, I get the vibe that he was like a fan and like known within like
Mhm.
the
Right.
locker room and would have been like okay with being used or whatever. I don't think Tommy would have did it if he seems like a big guy in respect and everything. Like, I don't think he would have
Yeah,
did it if he thought old
Right.
Grandpa Joe would be upset.
Right.
it's just and he seemed very emotional during that whole part too. Sandman did too, so it was nice.
Grandpa Joe gave Tommy his first kendo stick. Little known fact. But yeah, just incredible. Feels like public enemy #1 right now. Like
Mhm.
when the Dudleys are like, "Whoa, this is too much." You kind of know. You kind of know you fucked up.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, credible. He's another guy like Snow. He's been on fire, and it makes sense to put him in there with Tommy. Just keep putting him over. See how he holds up with Tommy. If he can go with Tommy, then maybe he's a future main eventer. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I mean, this is just real shitbag stuff from Just Incredible. So,
Mhm.
and it's great to see because he plays a shitbag well. So yeah.
All right, let's get to our awards. Episode 1. That was a quick episode. I feel like it wasn't like a lot
Mhm.
happened, but it was like long, like matches
Right.
in a segment. It wasn't
Mhm.
like the usual hodgepodge. So best match I think was RVD and Sabu versus Rotten Balls for me.
Yep.
I went Snow Furnace, but
Okay, that was my worst. I had him as the same grade. I like the
yeah.
tag a little bit better.
Mhm.
All right, best moment. I tied it with Taz's promo and Sandman's promo. I thought they both did a really good job with their tasks here tonight.
I went with
Mm.
Taz.
I'm going with Credible.
Yeah, that was good too.
It
Yeah.
was big. He was pretty hardcore, I will say. Very hateable.
Most 90s and with Joey ripping on Jim Cornette saying he needs a blowjob to chill out. I mean that could be the 80s, 90s, 2010s, and current day. But
Now, yeah.
but still.
He said, at least the host isn't wearing a cowboy hat when he was making fun of
Yeah.
JR there too.
It would have been next level if Joey says Cornette needs to watch his wife give someone else head because that probably would have been
Well, yeah,
he
that's
would
more-
have been ahead of the game there.
Yeah, that would have been more his wheelhouse. All right, Stock Rising. I went Taz, RVD and Sabu, Snow, Incredible.
Yeah, that seems
yeah,
right.
I like
And then
it.
Falling, I just went with Furnace. I mean, he had a good match, but he just feels like such a job boy at this point.
Yeah.
Like he may be one of the like most talented, still kind of not his prime, but
He
still
is.
a guy that can go.
Right.
That's like
Yeah.
being completely used as fodder in this stupid angle that no one cares about.
It's
besides
Lance
him.
Wright. He drags everybody down.
That's true. Also, Falling Grandpa Joe, sadly.
Yeah.
My God.
He fell for sure. All right, final grade. I went 6.5 out of 10. It's a rock solid episode. It's not a blowaway. It's not a must see, but it also didn't feel like a spinning of wheels or like a waste of time to watch it. Like we still got some stuff that happened, some enjoyable stuff, but it wasn't like, oh, this is a must see episode of TV.
I would agree with that. 6.5 sounds right.
I did the same. 6.5.
All right. Alternating every other Thursday here on North South Connections, WWE War. Me and Marcus Fuller going through every WWE pay-per-view in company history. We're doing it on a sabermetric style plus minus system, ranking them all. So we are just about kicking off a new season. We're through a really fun one we did 92, 93. That airs every other Thursday, rotating with this show. That is both audio and video as well. So if you're on the YouTube channel, you can find the playlist for WWE War. So be sure to check that out. And again, just subscribe while you're here if you haven't yet. We appreciate it. All right, let's go to February 21st, 1998. We open with highlights from the end of last week. Credible interrupted the moment of silence for old Grandpa Joe, triggered a big brawl. We get our opening animation. Joey's in the nest. He talks about what happened a week ago. He's got some solemn piano music playing.
Very.
Not quite the boozy Christmas music, sadly.
No.
A little more
He
solemn.
was very upset.
Yeah. Dreamer and Credible will face off at Living Dangerously. We get clips of what happened after we went off the air, where the Dudleys shit on Credible and said nobody deserves that disrespect. But they did come to fight and want to give the people what they paid for. That takes us to our opening match, which is the OGs, Tommy Dreamer and Sandman, taking on the Dudley Boys, the match we didn't get. We clip past the bell ringing. We're settled in. Bubba and Sandman get things rolling. Bubba breaks out an arm drag. Gertner brags up his amateur skills. They trade some holds and strikes. That ends with Sandman cleaning up both Dudleys. Sandman meets both outside with a plancha. Then Tommy barrels into them with Pescado. We reset with Tommy and Devon barking and shoving. Tommy tosses him around and works the arm. Dick comes in and chokeslams Tommy as Gertner and Sign Guy tie up the ref. The Dudleys do the New Jack hand signal, and right on cue immediately, out fires up. Natural Born Killers, New Jack and Cronus are in with a bucket of plunder. The weapons are flying. We head into the usual garbage brawl. The crowd is loving it. Things clear out. We get a wrestling flurry between Dreamer and New Jack before the weapons arrive again. We clip around through some of the weapon shots, including Cronus putting Devon through a table with a frog splash, which mocks Sabu. So out comes Sabu and RVD, and now we have a four-way dance plus Big Dick. Sabu and RVD plus Cronus puts Cronus and New Jack through a table. Devon crawls over and covers Cronus to eliminate the Gangstonators. RVD then misses a somersault plancha to the floor, lands on the railing, but Sabu meets Dreamer with a Pescado. Sabu leaps and gets caught by the Dudleys. RVD shoves them down into a near fall. Sandman and Tommy sneak in and roll up the Dudleys, and they are done. We get to our final matchup here as we clip again with Tommy and Sandman hitting stereo DDTs. We pan up to the nest where we see Justin Credible beating up Mikey Whipwreck, and he calls Tommy to come make a save of his buddy, and he wants to fight. Tommy leaves and heads up to the nest to go after Credible, but they get broken up by officials. Sabu and RVD then double team Sandman using a chair. Sandman keeps kicking out. Sabu eventually finishes with a super Arabian facebuster. And that is that. As RVD and Sabu, not originally in this match, end up winning it. This felt like more of a segment than a match. It was a good showcase. The Dudleys still seem stuck in neutral. Like, I'm still waiting for that Dudley push. That was ECW. The Gangstonators are filler as well. RVD and Sabu are red hot, and Tommy's main focus clearly shifted 100%, Matt, to Credible. So 2 3/4, again, more of a showcase of the tag division, but we're still not seeing, the Gangstonators are aimless. The Dudleys just kind of do Dudley things without like any significant push of any kind. It's really right now RVD, Sabu, rotten balls. That's it. Tommy and Sandman kind of messing around a little bit, but
yeah, I feel like we've been saying that for quite a while, and
our champions aren't even a team. So
exactly. Yeah. So it's just like, when is it going to happen? Like you just said, it feels like we've been stuck in this holding pattern with the tag division for a while, and it's like it's a lot of matches like this, and they're all fairly entertaining. Like I went 2 3/4 on this.
There's no progress.
Right. It's just we're kind of doing the same thing over and over again. And it's like, when are we going to do not necessarily, I mean, something different, sure, but like, when is there going to be some sort of storyline thing too, right? I feel like all the storylines have been revolving around like the singles guys or RVD and Sabu, and just the Dudleys are kind of like just facing random teams on a random night. And it's like, when is it? I know it's going to happen at some point, but when is it going to happen?
Right.
But I mean, as for the match, it was fine. It was very chaotic. It turns into a 4-way dance within 8 minutes of this thing starting. It was very interesting to see New Jack and Tommy Dreamer actually trade wrestling holds. That was a thing I wasn't fucking expecting in this right in the middle of a brawl too. It's like a trash can shot, and you know what? No, here's a wrist lock. Let's switch things up for a bit. Just very strange, but again, and you get good angle advancement here with Credible beating the shit out of Mikey. I'm assuming Mikey was just kind of sitting there watching the match, and then Credible,
Mikey.
Or he dragged his ass out from backstage. Either one.
And he broke. Like, how did he even get up there?
Right, exactly. He had to climb. He just threw him up there. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun match, very chaotic at points, and I mean, it probably didn't need to turn into a 4-way either, to be honest. Like, I get you want RVD and Sabu to get another win under their belt, but I feel like if they just kept this a regular tag match, or at least have it be a brawl with just 2 teams with the Dudleys, Sandman, and Dreamer, you probably would have got the same point across if you do this Credible stuff. So I don't know why it necessarily needed to turn into a 4-way, but it was still a pretty fun match as it was. So 2 3/4 for me, Jenny.
I had the same note about why did this turn into a 4-way. Not that I'm complaining about it, because I actually gave this 3 stars. I really
Mhm.
I really liked all the mayhem, the chaos, and whenever somebody does somebody else's move, and then, like in this case, RVD and Sabu run out after the frog splash, I think it was. It just makes me think that they're standing around in the back watching the match, just waiting on somebody to do their move, and I'm like, I don't know if I like that idea. But it's very odd what they're in the second match now. They've done somebody else's tag move. Like, okay. Not sure if that means anything or if they're just fucking around. I don't know. But anyway, I thought it was a pretty classic ECW type brawl, and I'm glad to see Mikey at least, even if he is getting his ass beat.
All right, Joey's in the nest. He runs down the current card for Living Dangerously, which is Bam Bam Bigelow versus Taz, Masato Tanaka versus Win Kanamura, Chris Candido and Lance Storm having a dream tag team partner match, and Tommy Dreamer versus Justin Credible. Beulah's backstage. She talks shit on Credible, trying to make himself a star, and asks, what now? Where does he go from here? A 23-year-old overnight sensation, but everything in ECW comes with a price. Tommy was 23 years ago, had to fight and claw for all he accomplished, and he paid a price for it. We then get clips of Tommy's brutal ECW journey. Beulah says the journey left a lot of scars, and there's a dark side of Tommy that few people have seen, and she hasn't seen him feel this way in a long time. Credible made his bed, and now he has to lay in the wet spot. We don't get a lot of Beulah promos, but I thought she did a really good job here. It was kind of chilling. Like, she basically said, like, there's a Tommy that you don't get to see that I do, which also has some implications maybe in there, but and that Credible's about to witness a guy that's gunning for him. So Matt, I thought this is a pretty good promo. Intense.
Yeah, you had the exact same notes I had. I mean, we don't hear Beulah talk all that often, but I thought this was really well done. Like, I feel like every time we've seen her talk, it's kind of meant something. And I feel like this was real. Like, there's a feel to it. And I think this really had a feel to it. It's like, Dreamer's going to fucking kill Justin Credible. It was the feel. So, and I think Beulah did a great job kind of bringing that point home. So, yeah, really good stuff from her, Jenny.
I think the last time we heard from her, I was like, yes, I need more Beulah in ring and in promos. And they're doing exactly that because she's very, very good at it. She knows what she's talking about. She's completely legit. Like, and she can hit a DDT. So I'm pretty scared of her on every level. And the lay in the wet spot line was pretty fucking funny.
Yeah, that was good. All right, Joey's in the nest. He talks about Dreamer Credible, says he won't be impartial in his commentary for that match. Joey then jokes about ECW wishing they could forget that they did a pay-per-view at Fort Lauderdale.
Yes.
It's funny that we picked up on that because they didn't really indicate they had a problem with it, but we talking about that show was obvious something was not right with the setup and the whatever difficulties they were having, and it seems like they definitely regret running that town for a pay-per-view.
But yet they went back.
Well, like a house show, because you want to keep the market high. Like, I don't think the fans are probably okay. It seems like it was more the setup of the building and technical issues that they had.
Production shit.
It looks like the same spot, though, isn't it?
Yeah, again, I think for TV they figure they can post-produce and whatever. Like, but live pay-per-view is we talked about it. It's like a bad idea when you can't.
Yeah, it was.
When you can't cover up, for shit production, right? All right, we got a 6-man tag. Up next is Balls Mahoney, Axel Rotten, and Tommy Dreamer taking on Rob Van Dam, Sabu, and Brockus. And in this match, we are in Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale match, of course.
Schlumpfen Cowboy Joe, man kennt mich im Schlumpf-Saloon. Ich bin der Schlumpfen Cowboy Joe, yippie-yay und yippie-yo. Ich bin der Schlumpfen Cowboy Joe, man kennt mich im Schlumpf-Saloon. Ich bin der Schlumpfen Cowboy Joe, yippie-yay und yippie-yo. Ich bin der Schlumpfen Cowboy Joe, man kennt mich im Schlumpf-Saloon. Ich bin der Schlumpfen Cowboy Joe, yippie-yay und yippie-yo. Ich bin der Schlumpfen Cowboy Joe, man kennt mich im Schlumpf-Saloon.
No idea.
Unfortunately, I could hear all of it.
It was skipping for me. That's weird. I got the Aaron George thing going on.
I'm going to need Imperium to start answering to that.
Imperium!
How dare you?
Fort Lauderdale, here we are. 6-man WWF ECW war. Get some Brockus action. He's in tights. He looks jacked.
He does.
Joey hypes up Cyber Slam during the entrances. Joey talks about Vince wanting ECW titles on his programming, and then makes us joke about the dog show, which would have been airing right around this time. Jason shows up at ringside, tries to make nice with Tommy, says he had nothing to do with Credible's comments. He apologizes and wants to shake hands. Tommy tells him to leave, but Credible shows up and tells Dreamer to stop messing with his manager and mess with the superstar instead. Dreamer chases Credible all the way out of the building, but Credible hops in a car. The driver speeds off, but Tommy chases him down the street. Back in the ring, RVD and Sabu are working over Axel. We cut back where Jason is trying to apologize again. This time Beulah comes at him, tells him to go away. But Joey thinks Jason's being honest. I don't. After all these years, Joey believes in Jason again.
What the hell was that?
Yeah, it was odd. I mean, the guy, he
Yeah.
hates this fucking guy for
He
4 years.
He gets
hated him.
hives from him. Like
He
literally.
decides that now is the point that he's going to believe.
Oh, he
him.
must be being truthful. In the ring, RVD and Sabu double up Axel until he comes back with clotheslines and punches. Balls tags in, drops a big leg on RVD. Sabu saves. RVD turns the tide and peppers through Balls. Tags Sabu, who batters Balls as well. Sabu baseball slides Balls into the fans and flies into him with a springboard plancha. Brockus is standing on the floor bodyguarding for Wright, who mugs while Fonzie rants. Axel tags in and gets a little offense on Sabu until RVD saves. Axel powerbombs RVD, tags Balls, hits a middle rope leg drop for 2. Axel and Balls quick tag, control RVD, but RVD comes back with a slam and a split-legged moonsault on Axel. Sabu sets up a table as Brockus comes in the ring, scoops, power slams Balls with ease. Brockus scoops up Axel, power slams him through a table to a pop. RVD and Sabu finish Axel as Brockus stands tall. And this is actually okay. Some of the usual stuff, but good to get Dreamer some heat with Credible, get him out of there, and now Axel and Balls have to go handicap style, but they can also protect Brockus, so just keep him on the outside and make it a tag. The end was good too. I thought Brockus was good in his 2 spots. The pop for the power slam was good. I went 2 3/4, Jenny. And I think when you think Paul Heyman, again, accentuating positives, hiding negatives, the way they presented Brockus so far has done that. They haven't exposed him too much. They're keeping him in spots where he can do quick, power spots and look good. So far, like the Brockus thing has been okay.
Okay. Well, I gotta tell you, I checked out after Credible got in the car and Tommy was chasing him and Beulah was running and then Jason was chasing them for some reason. So that I was all involved in that drama, and then I kind of barely didn't watch that. No, I did watch it. It was okay. I liked Brockus turning all Terminator on everybody and just slamming everybody with power slams. And then goddamn RVD and Sabu win again.
They're on fire.
Do they lose matches anymore? I don't think so. 2.5 stars, Matt.
Yeah, I went 2.5 on it too. I mean, they were able to protect Brockus, which I think was the goal. I mean, he doesn't even stand on the fucking apron for half of this match. He's on the floor, just standing there watching everything happen. And when he did get in the ring, I thought what he did, the 2 or 3 things he did looked pretty good. The power slam I thought was good, and him putting Axel through the table was good. The Germinator, I think, is what we should call him.
Yes, I like it. I'm writing it down.
So yeah, this was completely fine. It was definitely a house show match, but totally fine for what it was. I went 2.5 on it too.
Yeah. Ron Balls get a lot of run. Like,
Yeah,
they're on
I
every
wanted them
week.
to win this match.
They're in a substantial spot right now.
Yeah.
And they've kind of worked their way up. So
They're good. They're good. Like I said from day one about Axel.
Taz is backstage and says all he's heard and thought about is Bigelow, the big schmuck from New Jersey. And then Wright and his suckboy buddy Vince McMahon sending the big bodybuilder Brockus or Akem, whatever his name is. His real name was Akem Albrecht, but I don't know if that's what he was originally, like supposed to be called. They were calling him that in some places. I remember even when he comes up on TV to WF, I remember like reading about how he was Akem and ECW. So I don't know where this all played out, but everything we've seen, he's been called Brockus. So
Eric B and Akem. That was a rap joke.
And that was the B short for Brockus. So Eric Brockus and Akem.
There you go.
He says Vince sent him to take out Taz at CyberSlam. Brockus doesn't need to do cardio because the match won't go long. He'll get stretchered and tapped right out. Brockus didn't pay his dues. Took Taz 11 years to get to 6 figures, but Brockus got it just for being a bodybuilder. Taz will send him back to Titan, a beaten, stretched musclehead who won't do anything in Taz's business. Bigelow's body is in for hell in his hometown. The whole world can watch Taz take him out, kick the dog shit out of him, and it'll be a receipt for the fight of his life. But it's Bigelow's too. Bigelow pissed Taz off, and that's bad for him. Bigelow wants the only gold in the industry that means anything. This is a great usual angry promo from Taz. Matt, again, selling hard. It's interesting. We haven't seen a lot or heard a lot from Bigelow either through this build. It's been
Right.
really Taz driven since the turn. It's only been a couple weeks, but we'll see. And I think it's as much as we love Bigelow, he's not the best talker. So I think
Right.
we talked about it. Putting him at the triple threat was smart because that's his best roles as being the bruising muscle for a stable like that, and letting Taz talk to build us up and keeping Bigelow as the silent assassin. I think is a smart way to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, out of those two guys, who would you rather hear talk, Taz or Bigelow? It's Taz 99.9.
I would
percent of
argue.
But yeah, I hate that I want to see a Brackus match against Taz. I hate it.
Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that, man?
I don't know. I just want to see Taz fucking kill him, to be perfectly honest.
That's the reason.
But yeah, I thought, again, Taz is on fire. This was great. He had a great line here where he says, "Weights don't fight back, but Taz does." I thought that was a fantastic line from him. Just great stuff. I always pop when he calls Bigelow a big schmuck. So I just think it's such a weird insult, but it works because it's Taz saying it. So
he says schmuck. So it's like no one has ever said the word schmuck as an insult better than Taz.
Right. It's perfect. It's so good. It's so
big schmuck Bigelow.
You big schmuck Bigelow.
Like nothing's worse than being a schmuck.
Right. It's right. Exactly. So yeah, more great stuff from Taz here, Jenny.
It is. He really worked himself up during this one too. By the end, he was screaming, "My belt, Taz's belt!" Like, oh boy. It makes me think they just film him just like with 12 of these in a row, where he just goes.
Probably just lather it up.
Right.
Why not? I loved it.
All right, Joey's in the nest. He hypes up Living Dangerously, runs down the card again. That's one interesting thing I've noticed with the TV since the pay-per-view era, and it's not a bad thing. But Joey is hyper focused on every time we go to him, he's hyping the pay-per-view. We're getting the slate, we're getting the rundown, and everything is completely driven at this point to those pay-per-views right now in this company. Again, it's not a bad thing. It gives us benchmarks that we didn't have previously, but it's like everything is just completely scoped to those shows.
Right. I feel like they rarely mention even the house shows at the
we get the arena stuff here and there, like they mentioned SummerSlam and shit, but no, it's mainly we're marching to those pay-per-views constantly, banging it into our heads. As soon as one ends, we already know the next date, the next place, and everything.
Right.
The triple threat come into the nest. Candido rants about Lance Storm wanting his girl, doing everything he can to impress her. Just like everyone else, it's usual manic Candido insanity. And he says he's going to pick his partner right now. We're not going to wait for it. We then cut to the South Florida beach where Al Snow's buried in sand next to Head. He talks about being left out with the sun. Head farts and Snow's grossed out and asks Head to put lotion on his nose. Usual rambling Snow shit. Snow says he thought Vince burying him was bad and then demands Head dig him free. Let me get this last one, and then you guys can kind of touch on all three of these segments. Triple threats in the nest. Candido's rambling, and he says his dream partner, of course, is no other than Shane Douglas, his buddy in the triple threat. We cut to Fort Lauderdale, where Douglas is cutting an in-ring promo and goes right into a match. But before we get to that match, Jenny, what do you think of these kind of three segments in a row? The nest and the beach.
Candido on crack or whatever his drug of choice is during that, of course. Typical stuff from him. And Shane just yucking it up and just laughing at it. And just, he seems thoroughly entertained by Candido being absolutely insane and freaking out about Lance Storm.
I think this is a good use of Douglas, too, with it allows you to hype Taz Bigelow. And if the TV title is going to close the show, most likely, or maybe not close the show, but it's going to be your most hyped showcase match.
Right.
And Bigelow's hometown, and allows you to slot your world champion into another angle to make that even feel like a big deal too.
Right. It's perfect for him. He's so fucking good at this. It's just really good what they've built. I think Al Snow called Head's fart a air biscuit. Did I hear that wrong?
Something like that, yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Also, how can Heads fart? But okay. That was funny. Him asking her to dig him out really popped me for some reason. And then Shane, cutting his promo in Florida and his sweaty self was pretty good. Leading into that next match, Maddie.
Good Lord, Candido's back on the juice. Holy shit.
Yup.
Yeah,
He is
Soul.
yoked.
Yeah.
And speaking of yoked, the thing that popped me the most about the Al Snow buried in the sand was he asked if Head had been eating egg beaters,
Egg
which
beaters. Yes.
popped me quite a bit. So it's just more ridiculousness from Al Snow. Like, he's fantastic. He also has the line where he says he thought that Vince burying him was bad. I thought that was a good line
Yeah,
from
that was
him.
good. Yeah.
So, but yeah, those are my two main takeaways from this.
All right, let's get to our last match of the night. That is Shane Douglas taking on Chris Chetty. Douglas helps Joey call the match from the nest, as we're obviously this is pre-recorded. He batters Chetty off the bell. Chetty comes in with a flurry into arm work. We clip ahead to Chetty battering the champ on the floor. We clip ahead to Chetty hitting a top rope superplex, grabs a near fall, counters a belly to belly with a DDT for 2. Chetty gets a double jump moonsault. Francine ties the ref up. Shane survives. Shane dodges a leap off the top and finishes the match with the belly to belly. Usual Shane match. He gives a ton, but kind of finds that way to escape and win the match with the belly to belly. Candido comes in and pile drives Chetty. They kick him around as Taz watches from the stands. Taz comes down and he and Shane brawl. Taz grabs a Taz mission. We cut away as Bigelow threatens to kill Taz from the nest. It was, again, a clip show, but it was fine to showcase the champ, add some extra heat to Taz and Bigelow as we are just 1 week from the pay-per-view now at the end of the show. Jenny went 2 stars. Again, it's fine.
I like watching Shane do this because I thought Chetty got in, a couple of good moves, and Shane's really good about bumping around for people and making them look all right. What I really liked about it is Shane narrating his own match.
Yeah.
That I pop for that. Doesn't
Mhm.
happen a lot, but I really like it. I hope they do more of that if they have to use like these pre-recorded, like kind of put together episodes from their travels or whatever. So I want Shane to like kind of narrate all his matches from now on. I did the 2 stars as well, Matt.
Yeah, I went 2 stars on it too. Shane, I thought, was really great in the promo beforehand. Since he gave the crowd their 15 minutes of fame by showing him on TV. Another great line from him. The one thing I did notice was I'm assuming it was him selling, or maybe he's hurt again. But when he took the superplex, he was kind of holding his arm again.
Mm-hmm.
When he went down. So I'm assuming he's just selling. I hope he didn't get hurt again, because
I know it feels like he's always hurt. Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
that would suck if he's hurt again, because it felt like the way he was holding it was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
did I just fuck up again? So
Well,
hopefully not. But
it is kind of soon for him to be wrestling.
yeah, that's the other thing too, is that it feels like maybe he came back a little bit too early. But I mean, this was basically a showcase for Shane, and Shane's always good in these type of showcase matches where a lower card guy gets a little bit of shine, but then Shane ends up just fucking him up and winning. So yeah, 2 stars for me on this too.
All right, let's do our awards. Best match for me was the 6-man WWF ECW War.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Worst match we just saw Douglas and Chetty.
Yep.
Best moment, I went the Brockus power slam through the table. I thought it was a really cool spot. The crowd popped big time for it.
I think I got to go with Taz promo again.
That was good too.
I got to go with Tommy Dreamer chasing down the car down the street. I really wanted to stay with that drama.
All right, most 90s, I went with the reference to the Kennel Club dog show.
Yeah, that's very 90s.
Jason's fanny pack.
Yep.
Oh,
Although
yeah,
they're making a comeback these days. So
That's true, but
yeah,
still 90s.
Stock Rising, oh, incredible. RVD and Sabu. I went Brockus. Like, I thought he came out of the show looking good. And Taz, of course, as always.
Germinator, you mean?
Germinator.
Yes, Terminator.
Yeah.
And Head. I would say Head too.
Mm.
I think that never mind. I just like Head. We'll just put it that way.
All right. Stock Falling. I went with the Dudleys and the Gangstonators.
Yeah, that seems right.
All right. And final grade, I was a little notch below last episode.
Mm-hmm.
It still is similar. Like, stuff happens. It was a fun little watch. But again, I feel like, we've had a couple weeks now that feel more like filler than real hard sell for the pay-per-view. Like, we're not getting hot angles because we're already kind of there with the card.
Right.
I think they're still figuring out how to fill the 2 months between the shows without marching toward those arena shows, because some of the stuff here is being hyped for SummerSlam, but SummerSlam's like a week before the pay-per-view. So it's not even in between the pay-per-views, so it's tough. So I went 6 out of 10. Again, it's still a very good episode of TV, but not one I'd say you have to see.
I would agree with that, and I feel like this one is a little bit closer to balanced in between the pay-per-views. They're tightening it up. They're doing better, but we get a little bit of this bumper stuff. So I did 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I went to 6-2, and I mean we've seen this going into basically every pay-per-view we've seen so
Mhm.
far. So it's like, when are they going to actually figure it out? So
Right,
it's
how to
just
stretch things a
weird.
little bit more.
It's a
Right.
process, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels like we're still. Well, I guess we got some new stuff. It feels like we're still kind of dragging some things. Like as great as RVD and Sabu are, like them just still kind of being even tangentially with the WWF stuff, like feels old. I mean, that was almost a year ago. Like some of
I'm
that
ready.
stuff kicked off.
Been
You
ready for
know,
that shit.
so like
Yeah.
that's
And
kind
they're
of done.
decreasing it, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Taz Bigelow stuff has been well built, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like Bigelow was kind of no man's land as the face still until the turn. So
Mhm.
I don't know. Everything just feels a little bit in flux still right now.
hmm
We got a lot of injuries too, come and go. Guys come and go.
That's
The
a
tag
big
division is a
deal.
little shaky, so it just
Yeah.
feels
Yeah.
like they're still
Yep.
piece it together. Wednesdays here, Jenny. You have a lot of content on the North South. You got some video stuff, definitely all audio stuff. But any particular one you want to highlight?
I have a new one coming out. Should be out by the time you listen to this. It's called Talking Docs. Me and Logan Crosland and Cowboy, we review documentaries. So we started out with Heaven's Gate as our first episode. So we're going to do a little block of like cults, you know, sort of getting a feel for different types of cult documentaries, and then move on to different subjects. So
Very
check
nice.
it
So
out.
it's not a live watch. You pre-watch and then you talk about it
Yeah,
after.
yeah, just reviewing the documentary, the content, and how the film's made.
Right. And that's audio only on any of podcatcher app that you have. Just subscribe to North South Connection. And then Matt, you and Jenny do GC Dub, GCW podcasts, and that's once a month on Wednesdays. That's video and audio. You guys are crushing it with that. It's kind of the godson of the podcast we're doing here, ECW.
Yeah, pretty
Kind of,
much.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically. A
Yeah.
lot of the same influences for me to do those shows.
Yeah, and the newest one, I'm sure you guys will be covering the Mania weekend collective stuff. They did
Very
a good job
soon, yes.
previewing that. Yeah. So.
All 38 shows that they ran over
Yes.
the weekend.
Yeah.
We remember them all.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get into our final episode of television. It is February 28th, 1998. We open with Paul Heyman marching to the ring. The entire roster files in behind him. The crowd cheers and starts chanting Louis as everyone gathers around Paul, who says, "This is on the square." It's an organization that claims when you're with them, it's for life. But that's just a marketing ploy. But when you're an ECW family member, whether you're here in the arena or not, you are ECW for life. Paul says, tonight, people are here from all over the place for SummerSlam, and they're dedicating the show to someone that is ECW forever, and that is their friend, Louis Spicolli. The crowd cheers and chants for Louis, and we get a 10-bell salute. And, of course, Louis had just passed away. I think it was earlier in February, right, Matt?
It was right around Super Brawl, I think, the WCW pay-per-view, because he was supposed
Maybe
to
a
wrestle
week or so
Disco,
before
I
this.
think, on that show, if I remember right.
Yes, and then he OD'd, right? That's how he passed away, I
Aw.
believe. So,
Yep.
February 15th, he passed away. He had stopped taking drugs after renewed fears for his health, but news that his mother was terminally ill with cancer led to his relapse. Spicoli died on February 15th, just days after his 27th birthday, on a mix of soma and wine, choking on his own vomit in his sleep.
Oh,
They found an empty vial of testosterone, medication for anxiety, and determined that probably contributed to a heart condition as well. So just a young guy, obviously, just got trapped in a bad spot.
he was really
and
good.
it stopped because he was good here, and he was
Yep.
good in WCW. He was the NWO lackey, and he was getting a big push. Like he was showcased heavily as like Hall and Nash's boy or whatever. He had the feud with Larry, and then of course it's an infamous moment after he passes away. WCW talk about it, and Larry says, basically like, Mom always told me if you're not gonna have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And like I don't know if he really had a shoot with Louis or he was just old school
Bullshitting.
kayfabing it because they were feuding.
Right.
But I remember he caught like a lot of shit for that
Mhm.
at the time. Like people were aggravated that he treated Louis that way. in his
Imagine him
passing,
saying
but
something out of pocket.
Doesn't sound like him.
Mm-mm.
it sucks. I'm guessing we would have seen Louis probably back here at some point, or maybe even in the WWF in like 99, 2000 time period, because he's still so young. I mean, he's only 27. Like he probably would have had another, who knows, But and this was tough because this was right on the heels of Pillman passed away in October. Similar kind of stuff, and then he passed away here. So it was like kind of tough to see two young guys go down to drug issues, but such as the 90s, I guess.
Yep.
All right, we get our opening animation. Joey's in the ring. He kicks off the night ahead of us. Got a hot Cyber Slam crowd. He hypes up Living Dangerously. Joey explains the odd tag team situation in the Dream Partner tag match. Candido has announced his partner, Shane Douglas, but Lance Storm has been very tight-lipped and won't reveal until the pay-per-view. It's Triple Threat head to the ring, looking great with all the gold. Tammy, Sonny is here as well with Candido. Just what a great-looking stable this group is. Shane says he saw the forecast this morning and it has sunny skies over Philly. And then he gets a great evening with Fran. He talks about the big Triple Threat reveal a few weeks ago, how Storm and Taz got worked. And this Sunday is a mystery to be solved, where Candido picked the best tag team partner he could. And they're going to teach Storm about the Triple Threat. He wants to know Storm's dream partner, but Candido says it doesn't matter because Shane is the best. He rants about Storm wanting his girl again. Tammy talks Candido down, says she knows who the partner is, but she's not going to tell. She won't reveal the mystery, and Candido can find out on his own. Candido's annoyed, and Tammy catches some shit. So Tammy says, yeah, there's a lot of secrets you don't know about me, and you can't handle them. Candido grabs her arm, and she says, let go. We're in public, not at home. And she slaps Candido. Francine steps to Tammy, but the Triple Threat break them apart. And, it was a good segment. The Tammy turn didn't make sense at this point. We'll see how it plays out. I don't care for the domestic. This has always been a pet peeve of mine in wrestling. Like, I don't like the domestic abuse angle stuff, especially here where it's not like presented in a way that's she's just like, oh, well, you can do that at home, not here. Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, I know we're supposed to look at Candido as an asshole and ECW is based in realism and this level of violence, and I guess you just kind of expect it, but it just never sits right with me when they present it as part of an angle. Like, especially the way it was here was like so just like thrown out there, like it's almost like a nothing.
Shoehorned
like,
in, kind of.
Yeah.
Like don't grab my arm. Yeah. I mean, I think we'll see. It was just her trying to like throw the scent off or whatever and like play it up, but it's still like rung too true, especially when she said like, I have other secrets, like it just, you think immediately, like, okay, her banging Shawn Michaels, and everyone knew.
Right.
And then, and then accusing Candido of beating her. Like it was unnecessary. She could have ran him down and said, I'm a bigger star than you. You got to come here. I'm still a WWF star. Like there's ways to do it and belittle him, whether it's an angle or not, without playing into like, her cucking him in front of the whole mid-90s roster and then basically saying he beats her. So, and that they're still married. So I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was a super obvious giveaway. We kind of just did something similar to this. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I don't know if we want to talk about it now or whatever, but I'm just saying that I didn't buy any of it, basically.
Yeah, it just felt kind of forced. Like it wasn't really necessary. I mean, it was also very uncomfortable hearing it. Besides that, but yeah, like I honestly thought I had missed something when Sonny says, "Oh, I'm gonna, I know who the partner is. I'm not gonna tell you." Like I was scrambling through my fucking.
It was another one of those confusing ECW things, right? That we've talked about a bunch.
That's
where it's
the
like
giveaway.
Yeah. It's like it feels so forced in out of nowhere. It's like, what is this? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, just super weird and out of nowhere. It wasn't really necessary, but I mean, everybody played their roles well, I guess.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
it's just super weird.
I feel like we shouldn't always feel that we're missing something on like.
Right.
Are we missing some TV? Like, and I know, like Rocco said before, like we do. There's a lot of things we don't have on the Peacock versions that are like different promos and videos and stuff. But like stuff like this is angle shit. Like I think this is all in here. So it's just confusing when we're all sitting here being like,
I can't imagine that they're talking about this when they're advertising a show in Chicken Screw, Pennsylvania,
Right.
I think they're just trying to build on what they've already done with the mistrust of Lance Storm, but it's just clunky. It's just not well.
Yeah.
It's not well done as say what they did with Bigelow, which to me was well done.
Right. All right, Joey's in the nest and tries to sort out what we just saw. He wonders if Tammy picked a partner for Storm. He says Taz and Bigelow, talks about them as well, and sends us to our hyped TV title match, which is Taz taking on the Germinator, Brockus. Wright brings out Brockus and the WWF flag. He's flanked by Doug Furnace and Draws. What a fucking stable this is. Taz stomps out to a pop as Brockus paces. Right at Asbury. Taz stomps to a pop as Brockus paces. Brockus steps right to Taz, who charges and takes him down, beats him with cross faces. Brockus comes back with a knee lift and 2 power bombs. Draws Infernus, put a table in the ring as Brockus peacocks around. Taz slips out of a power slam, throws Brockus to the table with a T-bone. Brockus gets up, grabs Taz by the throat, and tries a press slam, but Taz slips down, folds him with a sick German, and taps with the Taz mission. That's a good spectacle. Brockus got a little bit of shine. Taz outdid him. The right call, of course, to Taz to job him out on the doorstep of the pay-per-view. Beat a big man. I thought both guys look really good and move quickly. I went 2 stars. Like, Brockus has been A-okay in my book in this run. He's been good as a bodyguard, good in these short spots as a power guy. It's all Heyman, because as soon as he goes to WWF, it's a shit show, So it's like, again, they're using him to his strengths. They're letting him work in ways they should present him as. And this stable is a disaster, though. Like, I mean, Furnace, Dross, and Brockus. I don't know, Matt. What do you think? I went 2 stars in the match. Yeah.
You just bragged all over
good, Jenny.
Brockus,
Good.
so,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's more here than you think. I don't know, but I thought it was pretty good. Like, it was exactly what I expected to see. Taz already told us what we were going to see. He was going to make him tap, and that's exactly what happened. For a squash match, I mean, it was very well done, so I did 2 stars.
Yeah, I went 2 stars on it too. This went just about as well as it possibly could have. Like you mentioned, Heyman's a master of hiding people's weaknesses. This was no exception. I mean, when Brackus goes to the WWF, if all he does is put people through tables, he would have gotten over, because he does that pretty well. It's all the other shit. It's all the other shit he can't do. But I think Taz was able to make him look like something, and I thought he was really good at it. So can't believe it. But 2 stars for a Brackus.
Yep.
He's on fire. All right, Joey's in the nest. He apologizes on behalf of ECW for Just Incredible's actions. They say they pushed this 23-year-old hard, and the public resented it. Credible has made it clear he'll do and say whatever it takes to justify the push and get pushed even harder, disregarding all tradition, showing no respect for Dreamer's family. Dreamer and Credible had a vicious first blood match at the ECW arena, which was too violent to show on television. We get some stills of what went down, including RVD getting involved, Beulah taking some offense as well, and gets hit with That's Incredible. Credible won when Dreamer got busted open, but Jason got sliced open as well and left for dead, and they will face off again on pay-per-view on March 1st. I will say, Matt, I like this approach that they're going with Credible, with the admitting, like, look, this dude's young and brash. He hasn't had this kind of success before, and we're getting behind him. We're rocket pushing him up the card. Is he prepared for it? Like, I like that approach because it's real. And I think they were reading, I remember feedback at the time of people complaining. I don't remember being this early. I know later for sure about Credible being over pushed and overused, and he stinks and like all this other stuff. Right. So I think they're leaning into that internet feedback, instant feedback that they're getting from the audience around, the perception of Credible. So I thought this was a pretty good promo, Matt. I kind of like that approach.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to push a heel. It's a thing you didn't really see at this point, because, I mean, yeah, you heard feedback, but it wasn't like internet feedback or anything like that. So, I mean, I'm guessing they saw all that shit that was being said about Credible and just decided to run with it. Like, you guys, you fucking hate him anyway, so we're going to make you hate him even more than you already hate him. And I think it works completely well. I mean, you're going to put him in there with a guy like Tommy. I'm assuming Tommy's going to fucking kill him at some point, so that should be entertaining. So you're going to see this guy, in theory, get his comeuppance. You hate his guts anyway, so you're going to enjoy it. So we're going to do it. And I think it's going to work really well. So, yeah.
Any chance of getting to see that match that they wouldn't show on TV?
I don't know. I don't think we see it at all here. I mean, it might be out there
somewhere.
I'm sure Rocco or someone can let us know. I'm sure it's searchable.
Might be a good one to watch.
Yeah. What'd you think, Jenny? Any thoughts on the promo?
No, I mean, it was good.
Okay.
Wait, is this the one where he was whispering the whole time?
Well, Tommy's coming up. Yeah, we're getting to that now. That was just the Credible one. That's just a Tommy one. So Tommy's backstage. He's in the dark. He talks about decisions and reactions. Beulah's strong, and he respects her decisions as long as they don't conflict with his. Credible wants to be on top of the world. Well, Tommy's going to make him famous. Beulah warned of the dark side, and she felt it 3 years ago when he pile drived her. But now she stands at his side because she feels the power. Last week, she was pile drived by Credible, but Sunday, she sees the dark side. And then we get a cut in from Credible, and he kind of hints that Beulah is going to be in his corner.
Mm-hmm.
We go to Joey in the nest, and he ponders, will Beulah indeed jump to Just Incredible? She's got a history of jumping. And it's kind of an interesting last-second twist. Joey then announces RVD versus Scorpio and Sandman versus Sabu in a dueling Canes match on Sunday as well. So, Jenny, I want your thoughts on this because we just talked about like the random shit they'll throw out when you're not really prepared or it's just not explained well. And they talk about it like we should know this stuff has been happening. And it's like all of a sudden Incredible cuts in, and I thought he was just being a dick, like saying, "Oh, your girl's coming with me," right? But now, then Joey a second later is like, "Well, there's rumors that Beulah may show up at Just Incredible." It's like, what rumors? Like, where did this come from? Like, I don't. I mean,
I
is
don't
there shit
believe
on the
any of
internet?
those rumors.
Yeah.
No.
Well, is there shit on like the message boards or internet stuff that like they're
I
referencing
think
that
he
maybe
just said
we're
that.
not privy to? Like
I
maybe
think
there
he
was
just
stuff out there
mentioned
they're leaning into it, or it's just weird. It's like, where does this come from? Like all of a sudden there's talk and chatter that Beulah's going with Just Incredible. Like there's been nothing that even hints at that.
I'm glad you brought this up because I had the same thoughts because we
Mm-hmm.
did. It was kind of presented like, oh, she took the whatever move or whatever of his, and that was how Tommy got her. So now she's all hot for this other guy who did a
Right, she's
move on
into
her.
the pain or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Like, have you not been watching Beulah for the past 2 years or however long they've been together? Like, no way. I don't believe this for any amount of time. Like, there's just no way that I believe she would be in
Right.
his corner.
Yeah.
So
There's
again,
nothing to
their
hint
little
at it.
twists are unbelievable to
Right.
me.
Yeah.
And I don't think most people bought it.
Here I am for the second time this episode, fucking rewinding, trying to see if
Yeah.
I missed something, and it's like, I don't know, we're just gonna throw this out there out of thin air. Like, it's just super
Well, give
weird.
us something. Like maybe Tommy left her
Right.
behind and Incredible beat her up and now she's mad at like there's just nothing that hints at it. Beulah
No.
didn't say anything that makes you think it.
No.
Like it's literally just Credible being an asshole. And Joey's like, well, she may be there. You know, Credible
If
said
Credible
it. It's
says it, it must
odd.
fucking be true, I guess. I don't know.
It was weird.
Yeah.
I feel like it leads to something. I don't know. Maybe not.
All right, let's get to our final match of the night, and that is the tag team champions exploding as Chris Candido takes on Lance Storm. Storm brings the fight right to Candido with a flurry of strikes and clotheslines to a big super kick. Candido bails out. Storm hits a baseball slide, dives into him and the fans with a plancha. Joey notes the original sign guy, Paul Mellon, is in the front row, someone who's been at every single show they've had in the arena.
Wow.
Back in the ring, Storm hammers away. Candido comes roaring back with chops. Storm battles back. Candido cuts him off, yanks him hard to the buckle to take over. Candido slaps and punches away. Joey ponders the issues between Sonny and Candido. Candido works through his offense, but Storm is right there with him, just can't take over. Joey talks about the Candido fits of rage over Sonny as Candido gets 2 on a leg drop, goes to a chin lock. Candido gets a nice scoop power slam and stomps away. Storm comes kicking back. Joey says Candido should beat up everyone that downloaded pictures of Sonny on AOL. Sorry. Storm hits a spin heel kick and a perfect drop kick for 2. Storm leaps to the top, but Candido crotches him, follows up, hits a super back suplex. Storm flips out of a powerbomb with a jump kick for 2. Candido crotches Storm again on top, follows and hits a Rana. Candido puts Storm on the top, but Storm counters with a blonde bombshell and wins clean over Candido. Big win for Storm. A good moment, elevation point. I like this match. They saved some of their biggest stuff for future, but the chemistry remains strong. It pushed the story. Storm continues to climb the ladder, and Candido is always locked in. So Jenny went 3 1/4. I thought this was a really good match with these guys.
Another really good match. Yes, 3.5 stars for me. Very stiff. Candido, once again, so good when he's so focused. So much hate, in this story too, comes across in this match. Very kicky and punchy, which is good. They do a couple of good spots, good big spots, but this was very much in the trenches, sort of a match. And then, goddamn, he used Candido's finisher against him. Like, why are we doing this all of a sudden? I don't mind it. It just I find it so odd. Like, what is the deal? Is it just like, is this a trend that happens sometimes where it becomes cool to do it, or is it? I don't know. I just was kind of put off by that again, Matt.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I went 3 stars on it, and I went a little bit lower because to me it kind of felt like they were holding back a little bit, which it makes sense because there's a pay per view in a week, so
Yep.
I get why they were holding back, but it was still really good for what it was. I mean, just these guys have great chemistry with one another. Storm is just so good right now, and it's a big win for him. I don't know if this is where I finally noticed that he got rid of the fucking rat tail. I don't know if
Yeah, he did.
this is where
Yeah,
it
that was a
happened.
big win.
If it happened, yeah, that's a huge, huge. I'm gonna bump it up a 1/4 star just for that, 3 1/4. How's that
I like it.
for him getting rid of the rat tail? But yeah,
Mhm.
I thought this was a ton of fun. But it was definitely missing something. I mean, look, you don't want to do stupid things and get hurt a week before a pay per view, so I get it. So definitely on the lower end of what they're capable of, but still really good. So these guys can sleepwalk to a 3 star match. So 3 stars for me.
All right, Joey's in the nest. He hypes up Living Dangerously, and we head to the hood where New Jack is walking around. Says he'll be on pay-per-view. The newest thing going around is criminals on pay-per-view. But unlike Mike Tyson, New Jack admits to the crimes he does. It'll bring violence and turn loose and take on whoever's across from him in the ring on Sunday. We then get clips of the Bigelow Taz feud. Taz is backstage, talks about working out. All he hears is about Bigelow doing press and breaking the Ferris wheel at the amusement park. Taz is trading while Bigelow's out pushing himself as a star. But on Sunday night in Bigelow's hometown, he'll show why he's called champ. He'll hook his hold and Bigelow will tap out. Even when he was a heel and a bad guy, he never lied to the people, and he won't do it now. He'll tap Bigelow and promises this because while Bigelow's doing radio shows, Taz is busting his ass training. That's why he's a miserable workhorse and has the gold. He doesn't talk, he does. He's proven himself for 11 years, and Bigelow can show up in his hometown and better be prepared to tap out. That's a strong final sell by Taz. Again, we didn't get any Bigelow as part of this. It's been Taz talking.
Mhm.
It's almost like they're trying to position Bigelow as like a dude that's not taking it seriously, out fucking around,
Right.
which is a weird way to present him with him being the heel.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just odd presentation. We're not seeing any of that. We're not getting highlights of him on radio shows and doing
Mhm.
press
Right.
around Asbury. So like, I don't know. Again, it's just kind of a weird thing that only Taz is talking about. That Bigelow's, unless Taz is using it for self motivation and is telling himself this is the case, but we're not getting it. But the last thing is Paul narrates the final hype promo for Living Dangerously. Says there's no big name advertiser sponsors. Just they're politically incorrect and they won't play it safe. So Jenny, what do you think of the Taz promo at the end of the episode here?
Well, at first, I miss Mustafa in the background of New Jack's promos,
Yeah.
just like being
Mhm.
crazy. Taz, he, yeah, I think there's a lot of self delusion when it comes to Taz.
hmm
Did he really break a Ferris wheel? Did Bam Bam
I don't
really
know.
break
I
a
mean,
Ferris
I'm
wheel?
guessing it means the one that I saw recently at the Jersey Shore. I don't know, but
I mean,
I mean, I would.
perhaps.
It makes me curious. What the hell does he mean by that? I don't know. He's not.
Right.
He's just putting out all these sort of like vagaries. I don't know. That's not a word, but it's just these things that, like you said, seem to only exist to him. Um,
hmm
and Bigelow just being utterly protected by the triple threat. He doesn't really have to do anything. You know, he's part of that team with the champ, and um, he doesn't really have to say anything. I had another point. Oh, I hope Bigelow wins. Maddie?
mm.
The way they're
Yeah,
building it feels like he's gonna show up and get wrecked, but we'll see.
yeah, right.
I said I hope.
Taz brought up an interesting thing here. At one point, he said that all the odds are against him, and I thought that was interesting because I feel like
Mm,
that's a spot that you don't see Taz in all that often. Like
right.
99% of the time, he's gonna go in there, and he's gonna fucking destroy a guy. And this
hmm
is that 0.1% of the time where he may get his ass kicked by Bigelow in Asbury Park. So who knows? So I thought that was an interesting point, and it adds an interesting wrinkle to the match that I don't think is often there with Taz matches. So I thought that was
Right.
really well done. So yeah, another more great stuff from Taz. He called Bam Bam a big schmuck again, which again always pops me. So yeah, more great stuff from Taz. This has been the entire build to this match has been the Taz show. So yeah, good stuff.
All right. Final awards here of the night. Best match, Stormy Candido. Worst match, Taz
Yes.
Broadcast for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was right.
hmm
All right. Best moment, I went with Taz choking out Broadcast and tapping him.
Yep.
That was pretty great. All right, I'll go with that.
Most 90s, I went sadly with Spicoli's overdose, as well as the idea of
Oh.
Cyber Slam.
Mhm.
We talk about that every year. And Draws. Draws is very 90s.
Draws just randomly showing up out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Rising, I went Triple Threat, Taz, and Dreamer.
Yep.
And Falling, I just went
Sunny?
Candido and Tammy. Yeah, for Falling, I went Candido and Tammy. I
Oh,
didn't
really?
like that whole.
Oh, for all that,
well,
yeah, okay.
No.
yeah, Candido had a great match, but I just didn't like that.
Yeah.
The positioning
Mhm.
of that angle and everything with them.
Mhm.
It felt unnecessary.
Also, how did that ring hold
Yeah.
up every single person that came out of that roster? Like,
Right.
and they
Yeah.
all got in the ring, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
It's well built.
Anyway.
All right, those are the best of the three we watched tonight. I went 7 out of 10. It was the liveliest thanks to being back in the arena for a big
Mhm.
show. It was sad with the Spicoli stuff, and despite the Sunny stuff, Candido Storm was really good. I really like the Taz Broadcast and then the Taz promo. So this is a very good episode, go home episode.
Let's go home. 7 out of 10.
I went 6.5, but still a really good episode.
All right, that'll do it tonight. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time. We're going to cover Living Dangerously 1998. It's been a solidly built show.
Mhm.
I think Taz and Bigelow has been well built. We know that for sure. Candido and Storm has some good interest, and then the Dreamer and Credible. Beyond that, I guess we're getting Sabu Sandman, which has been a feud.
Yep.
So we'll see. But they didn't really get much focus at all during this 3 weeks of TV on the two of them. So we'll see. It's one of those ones where you're kind of saying put the faith in ECW to churn out a good show. Right? It's kind of where we're at. So.
Mhm.
All right. Again, please subscribe if you haven't yet. By this point, I'm just saying do it. Check out all of our content here every single day. North South Connection, both audio, visually. Everything's at northsouthconnection.com. You just want to go there. That's the main hub. But if you subscribe, you get the notifications. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. Follow us there as well. Till then, stay extreme. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks.